Hi, families. I wanted to take a few minutes to walk you through how homework will work this year, and more importantly, what your role is as a parent partner. At Haywood Haven, we only see your children for about 2 to 3 hours each week in each subject. This means that your involvement at home is absolutely vital to your child's success since you spend a vast majority of their time with them. We cannot possibly know everything your child needs without your help. The more you check in on their progress at home and the more you communicate with us about what you're seeing, the better we can support them. Children whose parents are engaged and supportive progress much more quickly than children who don't have that consistent help at home. Please keep in mind that we are a mastery-based program, so we move students based on the mastery of skills, not on their age. Also, remember that support can come from many different people: grandparents, older siblings, trusted family, friends. So share this video with them so anyone that's helping your child will understand our system and expectations. Sometimes, honestly, the greatest obstacle to a child's learning isn't academic gaps. It is attitude, maturity, or lack of discipline. I had a saying when my kids were little that the difference between a phase and a personality trait was discipline. And the truth is, as a child gets older, the difference between a phase and a personality trait is self-discipline. So we really need the children to be learning at home, um, habits that lead to self-discipline so that they can be focused and attentive in class. So they need to learn to listen and obey the first time they're asked. If they're trained that mom or dad will repeat themselves 2 to 3 times with directions or requests before they actually have to listen to them, then that same pattern shows up in the classroom. And you can imagine with 8 to 10 students in a class, just having to repeat yourself a couple of times wastes valuable learning time. It also affects the children who are ready to listen the first time because now they are learning that directions will be repeated multiple times before they have to listen. So it's a cycle of poor habit formation. And we really need you to be working on that at home, that when you speak to your children, they give you their attention. We do something called whole body listening. It means that their eyes are paying attention to you, that their mind is in active state, that their hands and their feet are still, and that they have a heart that's open to guidance. So we would love for you to be participating with that training at home and asking your children for whole body listening. So we've designed our schedule with 2 to 3 days of class instruction and 1 to 2 days of home instruction based on your enrollment because we believe children need to have a childhood. And so for this model to succeed, students must come ready and prepared for class, focused, attentive, and active in their learning. That requires that parents practice consistency and discipline at home, helping their children to develop these habits and responsibility work ethic that will serve them for their whole life. So this is a synchronistic and beneficial thing for us to develop in our kids. We have a new system this year to make it easier to communicate assignments, areas of needed support, updates, etc. Our goal is to empower you in your role as your child's primary education leader. So please give us any feedback on this new program if you have any ideas of how to improve the system of how we're sharing assignments and communicating with parents. We want it to be as simple and easy as possible for all of us to succeed. So let me walk you through their tools and curriculum. The first thing we have this year that's new is this yellow homework folder. Every student has one of these. So please check this folder every day to see if your teacher has sent anything home. Sometimes it contains worksheets that need to be done, and sometimes it just contains information that you need to see. So check this on a daily basis, remove anything that it says needs to stay at home, and familiarize yourself with your teacher's system. Also, we really ask that once a week you are checking your child's backpack to make sure that it's cleaned out, it's organized, and they have all the supplies they need. If that doesn't happen, then they have a tendency to just shove things into their backpack. And these small habits build responsibility and help your child arrive prepared to class. The next thing that we have is this enormous 3-inch binder. So many of you recognize how big this was when you brought it in. Every one of our kids is going to have this, and the purpose of this binder is to serve as their portfolio. What we're working on right now is getting benchmarks for each kid. So we're assessing them in all kinds of different skills, including their their pencil grip, their letter formation, their number formation. We're getting writing samples. All of those things are going to go in their portfolio. And throughout the year, we'll send this home so that you can see your child's progress. And then at the end of the year, you'll have a collection of the work that they've done. It helps you to see where your child needs support, where they've developed and grown. It's just a great thing to have. So we're working right now on baseline activities to help us see where they're starting out, and then that'll allow us to measure their growth. The assignments that you're going to have the first week are going to ask you to assist us with that by doing your own baseline assessments of their pencil grip, their letter formation, their number formation, that sort of thing. All right. And then as far as their curriculum, to help students stay organized, we are going to go through the different things that we're using. We've asked you to purchase spiral notebooks for your students. So let me just say too, the yellow notebook folder will go back and forth between home and classes. Please make sure that every time your students come to classes, they have their yellow folder in their backpack. And then these spiral notebooks also, if you see these come home, they need to then be returned the next day to classes. So we're using a color coding system this year to help our students find their resources and just be trained on having the proper resource for their classes. So our color coding system is that our red is for math, our yellow is for language arts, green is for science, and blue is for history. Okay, we'll be using these for notes, summaries, and resources. So please make sure if you see these lingering around on your kitchen table that they're put back in the backpack. Also, one other note, please help us train your children in using paper correctly. It's always surprising to me how many children don't seem to know how to use notebook paper correctly. The holes are always going to go on the left side of the paper. They're going to need to put the date up on the top of the page so we can keep track of when things were done. They need to start at the red margin here, and they don't need to write past where the red margin shows from the back of the page. And please make sure that your children are writing so that their numbers touch the blue line. We have quite a few students that's writing is floating between the lines. So that is really, really important and will be a great skill for them practice. As far as math goes, we have a new curriculum this year, Singapore Math. We spent a lot of time choosing our math curriculum and we're really excited about it. The teachers like it a lot and so do I. It is a great mastery-based program. There are actually 3 books to the Singapore Math curriculum. And depending on whether your student is a 2-day student or a 3-day student will determine how many of these books that you need. So this teacher's manual is only required for parents that have their students enrolled in Tuesday and Wednesday because they will teach the lesson for Thursday at home. So this is required for that. And if you have purchased this, this stays home. You don't ever need to send this to school, okay? The next book that they have is their workbook. It looks like this. So the workbook and the textbook look a lot alike, except for one of the ways you can tell other than the name on the top is the workbook is all in black and white, whereas the textbook is this beautiful, very engaging content with lots of color. Okay, so this workbook stays at home the majority of the time. A couple of times a year, the teachers might ask you to send in the student's workbook so that they can see how they're progressing. But the key is that this is for you to work with your student. All right, so you are responsible for making sure they do the workbook pages and for correcting them. Okay, so as far as the answer key, there is no answer key in the workbook, but you know, our levels are levels that most parents can do without needing an answer key. But if you want an answer key, you would need to purchase the teacher book. Okay. And so your students are actually allowed to move at their own pace in these student workbooks. There are certain pages that go along with the lessons they're learning in class, and we will tell you what pages those that attach to the lessons that are going on in class, and your students will need to complete those each week. But if they want to move ahead, If they are loving practicing their addition facts or something like that, you can let them move at their own pace in this book. This is the student textbook, which will need to be here with us. We'll send it home every Thursday because it will allow you to have a chance to review what your student did over the week. So my suggestion is to plan a time over the weekend that you're going to go back and review what your student has done through the week, because we are partners with you. No matter whether your students are enrolled for 2 days or 3 days, your involvement is vital. And so for you to be able to support your student at home, you have to be aware of what they're doing in class. So take some time to look through what pages they've completed with us in class, because they will match up with the lesson that we've done together. And so we'll send this home on Thursday so you can review it, but it must come back to us on Tuesday because we need it for what we're going to be doing the next day. As far as language arts goes, we're using a phenomenal curriculum called Foundations for our phonics, and that's for levels K through 3. Each student will have a student notebook, and then we'll also be sending home readers and packets that support the lessons they've learned in school, and those will be found in their yellow homework folder. You'll also be responsible for practicing on a daily basis their whatever letter, sounds, phonics rules that they're learning, and we'll send you the resources to do that. A lot of times it's just a video or an audio so that students can practice their letter to sound recognition, like A, apple, ah. So students know A doesn't say A, the letter A doesn't say A, it says ah, like apple. And so training your child, constant reinforcement in that is necessary. We have a lot of kids who don't know their letter sounds, even though it's a skill that they should have mastered at their age by now. So we really need reinforcement of that. If your student is in Coach O's upper elementary language arts class, then they use a curriculum called Flash Kids, and he will be sharing in the homework document what pages of the workbook they need to do. All right. For history, this is our history book. Each family is expected to purchase one history book for them to use at home as a read aloud, and students should have a copy of the student pages. So parents will read the assigned chapter with their students over the course of the week, and we'll also send a link to you for the audiobook. So if you'd rather your students listen to the audiobook in the car or while you're making dinner or whatever, you can do that as well. You will have discussions about it as a family, and then your students will complete their assigned student pages. So this book can stay at home, but the student pages book will need to come back to school. We have history on Wednesdays, so we'll just need to make sure your history assignments will be for the week, and make sure to send the student pages book back in with them. Okay. And then as far as our science curriculum goes, this is our science book. It's a similar situation to our history book in that there's one copy per family, and this will stay at home. You'll have an assignment to read. We're shooting to read half a chapter a week, or you can listen to the assigned audio that goes with it. We'll send you a link to that, and then there will be writing assignments and discussion topics for each week. As far as book club goes, we have several book clubs, and in the homework document that I'll show you in just a minute, you can see what the assignment is there. So as far as at-home organization, like I said earlier, please check your children's backpacks every week to make sure they're staying organized and tidy. We also recommend creating a designated space at home for your children's books and materials. Makes it easier to keep track of what needs to go back and forth to school, and ensures that your child always has what they need. So if they can have a center area where all of their supplies are, they have paper, and they know that they're going to do their work there, and they know how to put everything back in their backpack. That's something we really need you to help with so they can come to class prepared. And we know life is hectic, and many of you have multiple children. I remember that life. So we just want to make it as easy as possible, and having good, solid systems and organizations makes a huge difference. Okay, so how is homework shared this year? So this is our homework assignment sheet. It is a Google Sheet, so you will be able to access it at any time. It is completely up to date every time. It's a live document, so as soon as parents make adjustments to it, you're going to see those adjustments. I highly recommend that you view it either on a desktop or laptop. If you can't do that, then you can look at it on a tablet. It might work for you on a phone, but it seems like it's going to be a little bit challenging because there's a lot of information here. So we're going to use this to share with you what we did in class for the week so that you know how to support your children. Math and language arts are foundational skills. So those 2 pages are structured similarly. When you look at the bottom of this page, you can see that the classes are listed down here. And so you just click on the tab that you want and then look in the column that associates with your child's teacher. So you can see that on math and language arts, the structure is that we have what we worked on in class, and this keeps you up to date with what we're learning. Notes for the parent partners. So this is going to give you any information that you need to be equipped to be your child's at-home instructor. And then what do we need you to complete? And these assignments are by the week. Okay. So if you are a 2-day student, though, your teacher is going to send you what to do on Thursday via ClassDojo because you're actually teaching at home what we're teaching in class. If you are a 3-day family, then and if you're a 2-day family, this is everyone's assignments to be completed between when they get out of classes on Thursday and they come back on Tuesday. If you have any questions about that, because our structure is different, feel free to reach out to me on ClassDojo. I can certainly help you. We have been doing this structure for a while, so I've pretty much had every question imaginable. So this is where you're going to go. You're going to see what week it is, what your student has done, what benchmarks we're looking for. You're going to see any notes that you need, and then what's expected of you. Same thing for ELA. Please complete everything in the box. Videos will be linked. If you have trouble with linking through to those, again, reach out to your teacher. She can send you the links in ClassDojo. We really want you to be communicating with us. For science and history, the structure is different because science only happens in class 1 day a week and history happens 1 day a week in class. And so science is on Tuesday, history is on Wednesday, and then we have science lab on Thursday, but you won't typically have any kind of homework for science lab. So for Tuesday, your homework assignments for science are Tuesday to Tuesday. So you have a week to complete these things. Everybody from 1st grade through 5th grade is reading the same assignments, and you'll do that in your home. And up here is linked to the audiobook if you want to listen to it instead of reading it out loud. And then each teacher may assign different things for you to do based on your student's level. So check that. Same structure here. At the top of both of these, you'll see these yellow boxes. So we're using that color to show you, highlight where you as a parent need to pay attention. And then here it tells you that your weekly partnership responsibilities for science are to read or listen to half a chapter that we assign. And then we'll discuss that information in class. We might also send home some papers that your kids need to complete. That will all be spelled out in here. And any papers will be sent home in the yellow folder. Same thing for history. Book club is a little bit different based on who your teacher is. If your students are here on Tuesday and Wednesday, they are in a book club if they are in 1st through 5th grade. All right. And then we also have at the end here a lot of really amazing resources. So sometimes if your student is having any kind of challenges or anything, we will refer you to these language arts or to these math resources. So this is the Google Doc, the Google Sheet. I will send the link to you with this video. Please make sure that you're looking at it on a weekly basis, that you're checking the folder. All of those things are very important so that we can make sure that we're supporting your children. As far as resources go, if you discover a resource that benefits your child and you want to share it with us, we would absolutely love that. You can send it in the ClassDojo. So in ClassDojo, there are lots of chat options. There is a chat option for your entire class. Every class that your child is in has a chat. Your teachers are going to initiate a conversation there and make sure that you are engaged and that you are looking at that. And then you can also message your teacher directly with any questions. But often, if you have a question about something, other parents in your class might have a question. And so putting that question in the chat might help somebody else get clarity as well. So we also understand that life happens. If your family has something exciting happening over the weekend or during the week that makes it difficult to finish an assignment, please just let your teacher know about this so that they can support you and we can work around that. We are gentle education partners, but we're also very serious about building strong foundations and giving your child the best education possible. That means we take our responsibility seriously and we ask you as parent partners to do the same. And in reality, parents who don't want to partner with us in education, Haywood Haven's model is just not a fit for a family that parents are not wanting to be engaged in that level, at that level in their child's education. As far as ClassDojo goes, it is mandatory that you are on ClassDojo and that you are engaged on ClassDojo. We need you to have your notifications turned on. And so if that is something that you have not done so far, please make sure that you do that. I also want to share that children progress in their academic skills differently. And some skills come very easily and some skills take more practice. So sometimes we are going to send additional assignments or resources to parents who have a child that is having a little bit more of a challenge in mastering something. And that's completely normal. I mean, we as adults struggle with some skills and master others very quickly. So we're going to make sure that we give you the resources that you need to help your child build towards mastery, and that they have the resources that they need to be able to be successful in those skills. So it is, as far as your responsibilities go, it is your responsibility to check that homework is completed at home. Please understand as well that it is your responsibility to check their homework and correct it or have them correct it before it comes back to us. We don't have time in our classes to actually check homework. Our teachers don't take things home and grade them. So you need to send your students' assignments back to us with you having checked over it. If you look at an assignment and it is not done in a neat manner, or they haven't formed their letters or their numbers correctly, then please have them do it over or correct it. We expect excellence here, and it's a great life skill to learn to expect excellence out of yourself. So help us with that metric as far as training your children to do their best work, because if they know that they're going to have to do it again, if they don't do it excellently, that's going to make a big difference. Also, be checking your child's pencil grip. Proper pencil grip and letter formation are essential. If you see your child forming a letter or number incorrectly or holding their pencil incorrectly, please let us know, or please correct it yourself. Actually, we're going to be sending videos home this week that show you what a proper pencil grip looks like, and how to correctly form their letters. So that's an important skill that you can help us to reinforce. We also need you to be practicing their math facts and number sense at home every day, in their car, over breakfast, any opportunity you have to practice, recognizing numbers, seeing how numbers bond together. Board games are great for this. Your child should be reading every day. This is a life skill. So as soon as your child can't, like before they can read aloud to them. Once they can read, have them read aloud to you, and you also read aloud to them. Always be asking them to make sure that they are paying attention. Train them in paying attention by asking them questions about what they read. And children, none of our students here should be academically independent. All of our students need parent engagement and for their work to be checked regularly. Please do anything you can to extend learning into daily life. Mastery doesn't happen just in the classroom. It's built in daily life. So car rides are perfect for playlists with number songs, phonics practice, spelling review, vocabulary games. Conversations when kids get in the car should go beyond how was school to find out what did they learn. Have them retell you stories. Have them work on solving small problems. Bring them into the kitchen. The kitchen is a great math lab. And, it's a great place to teach fractions, parts of a whole, how to make a recipe bigger. We believe parents are the primary teachers, and our role as staff is to guide, pace, and prioritize information. But you spend the most time with your child, and that makes you the most important part of this process. I would also like to make a request from myself and our teachers that you limit screen time at home. So, screen use makes it much harder for children, especially boys, to focus in class. We respect children's natural need for play and movement, and we build in about 2 hours of daily breaks. So that the goal of that is so that kids can be focused during learning time. So please help us with this by limiting screen time and training your children to have the best possible attention. Okay, so with this being a mastery-based program, we are requiring them to store information deeper in their memory. This is not a input-output program. So your role cannot be overstated. You are your child's first and most important teacher. With your daily involvement, your child will flourish academically, emotionally, and spiritually. And we cannot say enough how grateful we are that you chose us to partner with you in education. Together, we can build strong learners who have a strong foundation for life and a love for stretching themselves and mastering challenging things. So we are looking forward to a fantastic year. Please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions.